Welcome, acolytes. The continuous downfall from Tobuscus. Royalty is here. I watch these videos on a regular basis, but as you know, acolytes, time. Yeah, let's see what Tobuscus is about, because I actually only remember that he was a deviant in any kind of way. That's all. Minecraft YouTuber. That should say everything.
Hello once again, audience.
So we all remember Tobuscus. Sorry,
Not really.
I forgot some of my demographic was born after the PewDiePie bridge incident of 2017.
What a fucking
nice distinguished person.
Most of you probably only know Markiplier, Mr. Beast, Queso, and
Fair
Creekcraft.
enough.
But if you spawned in the same time I did, music like this was our childhood.
Bring zombies.
When we're waiting for the bus, we go to bed.
Yep.
Sandwich doesn't have tack in it. Doesn't have
About to battlefield back to 1942.
Yep.
Most of these songs are actually older than
Yeah. I remember all of them. That's yeah, you know if you're old when the songs are 13 years old and you're... Yeah.
some of the people watching.
Ah,
God, am I getting old? But around the start of the 2000s and early 2010s, you had some creators that had set the precedent for the landscape that is today's YouTube. They essentially laid the foundations for many other content creators. Just for most of you to become hooked on the dopamine highs, that is watching the most fictional Reddit stories like saying, "Am I the asshole for putting my newborn baby in an oven preheated to 220 degrees, purposely, without seasoning, with Subway Surfers or
the
soap
seasoning.
cutting below the video just to keep you engaged." My personal favourite brain rot slop is the ranking lists.
You're about to watch a master at work.
yeah.
But the early days of YouTube is a nostalgia trip for many of us. And some of the creators that influenced that nostalgia when we were kids have kids of their own now and have moved on from YouTube or are still making videos to this day as either a hobby or with a completely different pace, due to most of them being in their late 20s to mid 30s. Yeah, it's hard to keep the same energy and upload schedule at that age, let alone keep up with the daily trends with whatever the fuck this is. But these people are the forefathers of YouTube, and are beloved by many, especially the creators that specialised in content like Minecraft. I'm talking Yogscast, Captain Sparkles, Stampy, the Diamond Minecart. Cancelled number 1, cancelled number 2. Unfortunate ending to his relationship, but glad he still put the intro in his breakup video. The Syndicate Project, who philosophers are still debating if he faked his round 115 COD Zombies run. But there is another many may have forgotten about, but was just as integral and prevalent in the infancy era of YouTube. Tobuscus, or Toby Turner, someone that was once known for his Happy Wheels and Minecraft gameplay, his music parodies of popular games, especially Minecraft, which is enough to awaken most people like a sleeper agent with nostalgia, his apparent movie appearances, when one, he's just standing there, not even uttering a word, just nodding his head like he was the deaf interpreter for the movie, just listening so he can throw all of his gang signs a second later. He was also in 3 other movies which did pretty well, and from what I could see, he had a talent for acting. All around, people just generally liked him or his online persona.
Holy no! Bounty Jupiter! No! What just happened? Oh, come on!
Which was a comedic, light-hearted, goofy guy. And he was well
Fair
known,
enough.
respected, and influenced so many people's childhoods. Which was a reputation that quickly crumbled due to many controversies and dramas, most occurring behind the facade of his online persona. And in recent years, said reputation has only gotten worse, with questionable uploads that are polarising compared to earlier content, regular crash outs on other platforms like Twitter, some even happening quite recently, and his political opinion he spreads on his platform. I don't know why it's a requirement for most content creators nowadays to preach their own political takes or combine it with their content or platform. I just want to watch reacts and body cams in peace, but I can't seem to escape it no matter where I look. But this is Tobuscus, or Toby Turner.
I can explain that. It's because it's popular right now, or a lot of people actually, well, like it, so yeah, that's why.
Someone that personally influenced my childhood and someone I completely forgot about till his most recent crash out. And the subject of today's video,
Again,
since I just remembered he existed. But who is Tobuscus?
Hello once again, audience. From left off, I had glasses on my head.
So Toby Turner was born on the 3rd of March 1985, meaning by the time of this video he would be in his 40s. Toby made his start on YouTube under the name Tobuscus in 2006. Yes, that was almost 2 decades ago. And he was spawn camping YouTube because YouTube was made a year prior and it was not as well known around that period. But his first video was titled What I Do with a Remote from Click, a reference and parody of the Adam Sandler movie Click, a movie that has unironically become popular again through YouTube shorts and TikTok clips, despite the movie being very old at this point. It's a good movie though,
nice.
But even from his first upload you can see his enjoyment for acting, playing characters and movies, as a lot of his earlier videos are reenactments of movie scenes and skits, but throughout some of his first uploads you can see the personality and characteristics that would later become one of his best selling points.
I've been watching Heroes, and all I can think about is, does Claire's hymen regenerate? Is that weird?
And Jesus Christ, was he an alcoholic. But for now, Toby wouldn't see any success from these videos, and when he eventually did, it was primarily down to his skills in remixing and producing music, with his earliest success being the video Don't Tase Me Bro, uploaded in September 2007, a remix produced by him of his friend being tased at a university conference, seemingly for something he said or just generally being obnoxious and refusing to leave.
You'll be tased if you do not comply. Don't tase me, bro.
But who needs enemies when your friend Toby will record you being tased, turn it into a viral success, and then sell t-shirts about said situation. But don't worry, all the earnings supposedly went to that friend that was being tased. The internet was such a simpler time back then. But even with this viral success, it seemed Toby didn't really know what type of content to upload. I mean, this was the start of YouTube, before people were getting paid for it and before anyone considered it a job. But he was experimenting, uploading a variety of videos. From skits to music videos to vlogs to crazy squirrel threesome in HD, my personal favourite. He also gave birth to his own theme song within this time frame.
Subscribe.
And his wildly recognised animated intro. And he was also communicating and joking around with his audience he had at the time.
Well, Viperboy97, I see you can play my theme song. If you call that playing.
Every now and again he'd upload viral remixes that garnered more attention to him, but he faced the problem of he had so many viral videos but nobody was really there for him, or his skits. Well, till he began getting noticed for content that was only successful down to his own personality and his music skills. This happened around 2009, so you know the series Everything Wrong With by CinemaSins?
I mean, for F's sake, at the end of the day, yes, if you have a viral video, that doesn't mean that people are actually there for you. They like your viral videos. That's just how it is. But hey, I'm gonna be honest, not the worst thing. Really not bad.
It was kind of like that, but in this era. He was just summarising things happening on the screen and the plot of the movie with music and jokes.
Ground shot, helicopter, girl walking to rebel fade out.
This extended to popular trends, ads, games, and it worked.
Yep. And it worked. Still. The content was lazy, but it worked. fuck it, it was still good.
Very well for him and launched his popularity further than it had ever been. And it wasn't just down to these viral remixes he was making. It was down to the remixes and him. People were even getting interested in his content outside of this series. And he kept going. He struck whilst the iron was hot. Jesus, is Bioshock Infinite that old now? Around 2010,
Yep.
he was doing numbers and actually outshined actual celebrities of that time who he went to school with, like Alan Richson, or the Reacher as people would know him, in which he was paid to surprise him and conduct an interview in October 2010, and Alan even exclaimed how much he loved his videos.
What are you doing?
I'm interviewing you.
Get out of here!
Nope.
You use when you walk down the street because I watch your little videos. Is this a joke?
Toby at this time was considered YouTube famous. He'd technically made it. He would get recognised in public, requested to attend certain events, and for those early days of YouTube, it seemed like he was everywhere. Why do I remember this?
Because you're old.
This was from 2013! What the f- And people would watch his content regardless of what he was uploading. He even started his gaming channel.
I love it when people realize they are old. Just like royalty. It just snapped in his head. Yes, it's the proof, the laughter afterwards. He's done. He knows it. He knows he's getting older.
Channel Toby Games in the same year, uploading Let's Plays of Halo, Fallout New Vegas, and a plethora of other games. Most of those videos also seeing large success, but everything he had done previously would pale in comparison to two things he was about to release in September 2011. That being his Minecraft series and his Biscuit Nugget video.
Nugget, biscuit, nugget, and a biscuit, nugget, biscuit, nugget.
I cannot explain to you how influential this music was. It was the only thing sang on the playgrounds. It was actually a flex to say you watched the 10-hour version all the way through. And his next song was like a Matisse painting that even rivaled the Beatles. That being the release in 2012 of I Can Swing My Sword.
Sword, my diamond sword, sword. You cannot afford, ford my diamond sword, sword.
A lot of these songs and animated videos are still to this day sitting at his most popular viewed videos on his entire channel and are what people still recognise him for. Except for the Biscuit and a Nugget 2, that was complete shit, terrible sequel. It's like the Megamind 2 of the series, but in 2012 he now had the full attention of the internet, and in the same time reached 2 million subscribers. And once again, things were going very well for Toby. He had a popular gaming channel which shaped many's childhoods. He had a vlog channel which saw similar success.
Nice,
he was
yeah.
on TV at one point. He was in movies, as I mentioned before. He had a successful animated...
He was really on TV, huh? No, I mean, it makes sense. It definitely makes sense. He was popular out of YouTube, I think. If I recall correctly, because as Royalty here already said, I also forgot that this guy existed until... I mean, you couldn't get away from him at the start, but now it's more of a... Yeah, if he breathes or not, nobody really cares. And it's mostly because of his... Let's just say... His takes are unreasonable to a high degree. He just seems... His child-friendly persona just doesn't mix well with the thing that he's doing now. Let's just say it like this. It comes across very, very disingenuous.
It's show on his channel. He made his own game which didn't do too well due to the fact it took way too long to develop and came with a whole host of problems, and the hype just kind of died around it. And sponsors absolutely loved him. But these were the golden years for Toby and his career from 2010 to 2014. As from 2015 onwards, he faced a sort of lull with his growth. But with that being said, he did reach 5 million subscribers on his main channel, which is a feat only few accomplish, but there were no more explosive growths that all of his channels had previously seen, and it could have been down to a number of things. It was around the time Minecraft saw its great stagnation between 2015 to 2018, before later being revived again. That, along with his usual content like his Lich trailer series, which I explained previously, just wasn't grabbing attention like it did initially. Toby also wasn't uploading as regularly as other competing channels, like the rising stars of that time, PewDiePie and Markiplier, who were almost uploading daily, but Toby was uploading a lot less frequently, and when he did upload, it was the same things he was doing in previous years. Maybe people just outgrew or were no longer entertained by Tobuscus anymore, and his online character and persona he showed in every video. It could have been any one of these things. Don't get it wrong, Toby was still getting views and people still loved him. He wasn't anywhere near, as some would say, a dead channel or fallen off. He just wasn't seeing the huge growth he saw in previous years or what other channels were seeing within the years of 2015 to 2016. And unfortunately, it was only going to get worse, as allegations and controversies would surround him and stain his name.
Remember to hit that like button for a year of people capitalizing on my mental anguish.
So in 2016, a number of allegations were levied against Tobuscus, portraying the point that behind the character he shows on his YouTube channel, he was the complete opposite.
I don't want to get too far into it, but people had been hearing that Tobuscus was like a colossal piece of shit for years and years and years before anything came out about him publicly.
Yeah.
Literally every single place the guy went, he created a bad story about himself. Like, I'll just say that.
You know Toby Turner?
Of course.
Toby Turner was like the great Gatsby of YouTube at one point, where he had parties every single weekend at his house, and they were like extravagant parties. And this is like a party, there's like drugs going around and drinking going around.
2016 was not a good year for Toby. It was alleged that Toby was stalking one of his ex-girlfriends.
And by the way, he should have been done. He won, basically, life. He could go and just end it and be like, yeah, I'm done, I can sleep all day, do what the fuck I want, and I'm fine. And yet, it just didn't happen.
That recently got married.
Mr. Toby Turner was still trying to go after Jacqueline Glenn.
He was sending messages, emails, and at one point left a note on her car, and even joked about doing this in one of his vlogs.
Months ago, and is now getting bad again. It seems like every time he thinks I'm involved with someone, it gets worse. Like, one time he showed up at my place while I had a roommate and like got into the back and left a note on my car. I don't know how he got in because it was a gated thing. Even a couple of months ago, like a month ago I think it was, he posted a video on his channel called Too Late where he laughed about the fact that he was sending me unwanted emails.
You know, I haven't been, contacting my ex or anything, which is good. I just send her stuff that makes me think of her, which doesn't count, but it's cool because she did respond and she was like, please stop.
Pathetic. Pathetic. Don't get me wrong. Some people need a bit longer than others to get over an ex, but don't do this freak stuff, for F's sake. And I know Jacqueline Glenn isn't an innocent freaking little puppy, because she had a fair amount of her own drama around her, but for F's sake, just pathetic. It's just, like, it just shows to me, personally, you don't need to have any backbone, just a good idea to actually make money. It's just,
sending me stuff, so it's a good sign.
Drama Alert covered the story, which made Toby respond by saying he actually didn't know she was married.
Back together after that, but it didn't work out, and she's married for any of this. But it's just freaking, there's so many drama videos about it. I mean, I was told she wasn't in a serious thing, so obviously that information was factually infactual.
But once again, he did know she wanted to be left alone. But this claim against Toby would be one added to a pile at the time, cementing the fact that 2016 was the worst year for Toby, Allegations from another previous girlfriend going by the name of F or April Fletcher, who was another content creator around that time period that created covers of songs, in April of 2016 would release a Tumblr post alleging that over their on and off relationship starting from 2011, that Tobuscus was definitely not the light-hearted, wholesome, goofy guy he was previously revered for. The post lists allegations of emotional abuse and manipulative behaviour, physical abuse and non-consensual advances, and rape, claims he had drug problems and at one point drugged hair, and that throughout their relationship had cheated and possibly done things with other females. At the launch of these allegations, other women would slowly come out about their own experiences with Toby, like Amelia Talon, who spoke about similar experiences she had with Toby.
He had Molly on his tongue and he kissed me and I didn't know it, and so I had to take it. So I don't...
By the way, don't remember if this is true or not. Disgusting. This should be punishable per freaking 10 years of prison. If you drug someone like this is just... no.
doubt that he put drugs into her shot.
And multiple other women would come out with their own stories, many suggesting he did have a drug problem. However, some looking back at these allegations years later and even within the same time frame bring up the point that no criminal charges were ever filed against Toby and no hard evidence was ever presented, except for a screenshot of exchanged messages at the time. This could be down to victims just wanting to bring their stories to light and move on from the situation and not want to start a lengthy legal battle, but once again there were a lot of people coming out with similar experiences, at least for the drug abuse and cheating.
With all this,
yeah, the thing is, I will say this, there are a lot of people who come out because of it, but also pursue it legally, for fuck's sake. Why? Why wouldn't you want that bastard be in jail, for fuck's sake? I just don't understand that part. I mean, it is what it is, I guess. I just don't know.
Jacqueline is Toby's ex-girlfriend, who he cheated on me with.
I helped him curb the drug problem. I helped that a lot. I tried to get rid of alcohol. I tried to get rid of drugs. One of the things that I heard, and one of the reasons why I didn't really like when he would hang out with April, was because I knew that she was one of the people that introduced him to Molly. You know, there's two sides to every story, and I feel like people are only getting one. And I understand that he probably did treat her like shit. He probably did yell at her. He probably did make her cry. You know, he probably did, you know, lie to her about his relationships with other people, and did lie to her to keep her staying, you know, about, you know, going public eventually with their relationship and stuff. I believe all of that is true, but I do believe that there's a gray area. I don't know exactly what happened with the drug thing. I wasn't there. All I do know is that she was not a person who wouldn't take that drug. He likes to feel attractive. He likes people to want him. I think that's part of the reason why monogamy is such an issue, because he likes feeling wanted by people. So it's hard for me to imagine a situation where a girl was saying, no, I don't want you, and him being like, too bad. Like, it just doesn't make sense, because like that ruined it for him every time with us.
But some did speak out in defense of Toby, like Tara Babcox, who was another content creator and had a short sexual relationship with Toby. She claimed that Amelia Talon's accounts of the story was disingenuous at times, as sometimes she didn't add context, like how she was married when she was sexually interacting with Tobuscus.
I was actually the girl that she mentioned in the video who introduced them. And one thing to kind of prove that everything is based on perspective is that she left a lot out in that video. But she didn't mention that when I introduced them, she was married. And she went ahead and slept with him the same day of her own accord, and took Molly the same day of her own accord.
But goes on to say that with their personal experience with Toby, he most definitely had a drug and self-confidence problem.
But I knew that he was unstable mentally, from the drugs to just really needing that gratification of sex.
Toby did deny these claims when they were initially released, but all he said initially was they were not true.
I've never done anything without her consent.
But he did make a response 2 years later, saying in that video this situation had a lasting impact on him.
Have I been a bad boyfriend? Sometimes, yeah. Did I party in my 20s? Yes, too much. Am I over that period of my life now? Hell yes. But for 2 years,
I felt like I was stabbed in the back and left to die while the world told me it was my fault. I almost gave up.
And once again that the allegations were not true, and points to a Tumblr post that attempts to discredit the original victim, which claims she was known to spread rumours about other people, was somewhat obsessed with him, and that some things in her story did not match up with others. But from most accounts of Toby, he definitely did have a drug problem and maybe self-esteem issues. These allegations did have somewhat of an effect on Tobuscus's reputation, and at the time, either down to said allegations or the content he was uploading, Tobuscus's audience wasn't as big as it used to be. He saw inconsistent viewership, which affected future uploads, as in some videos he can be seen going on occasional rants about the YouTube algorithm.
Speaking of which, do you happen to know the person who handles the algorithm situation? Because I would just love to go to their house and just ask him a question.
But all around, Toby saw no significant growth ever again. But he did see more growth in the hate for him as he began to voice his many controversial opinions.
Yeah, N-word, dude. N-word's making a huge comeback, which is great because my ancestors loved it. I mean, I just, I haven't said it yet.
In recent years, Toby has been very vocal on his platforms regarding his political opinion and views on other controversial topics. Many relating it to a crash out on the same levels as Kanye, some even saying he's on his Kanye arc of his career, as around the time of 2020, Tobuscus had basically somewhat given up on his main channel. There are entire years he's stopped uploading, but he was more active on things like his Twitter and vlogging channel Toby Turner. He was just kind of going about his life. And yes, you still can't tell from his vlogs if this is his persona or his actual personality. They've sort of morphed together.
Man, I like this hat. So funny. Oh.
But he also began to share his opinion on things like COVID whilst driving, which I feel is just a tad bit dangerous.
I don't know what it's like to be in a place where there's still lockdown going on. But,
yeah, he's correct.
Who knows? I mean, maybe it is best to just continue to starve.
And he's moving
the economy until everyone dies.
Sure, maybe there's gonna be a magical vaccine that comes out, puts that chip in you. Oh, just kidding.
He talked about the trans discussion, albeit in a sarcastic tone.
And if you want some doctor to help you realize your real identity, why not just have him pay him $20,000 to take a scalpel to whichever parts of your body need to fit who you really are?
But the most notable event was him taking a picture of Kyle Rittenhouse, who still to this day is a controversial figure in America, after going out armed with an AR, in his own words, to defend against rioters at the time, which resulted in him shooting and killing 2 people and wounding another, which many say was racially motivated and uncalled for, and the other side says he was basically trying to defend himself, but ultimately the charges against him were dropped, but it still remains a contended topic.
Yeah, the thing is, if I recall correctly, it was actually... There were riots there, and from the video that I seen, he got provoked very heavily to actually do naughty stuff. I mean, I personally see that, well, going out with a fucking rifle maybe isn't the best idea, but those fuckers clearly attacked him. It was clear, in my opinion, it was clear self-defense.
And at the height of the controversy, Toby was in defense of Kyle.
And I really wanted to meet this kid. I was so excited. I wanted to meet him ever since I saw the whole video where he unfortunately took the lives of a couple convicted pedophiles.
A lot of his videos from this time and even now are just him ranting about controversial topics, and many just label this as he's not doing too well mentally, and that's why he's like this. This eventually did carry over to his main channel where he uploads sporadically, and the quality of videos varies tremendously, and sometimes he uploads just random songs. He more recently was in the mouth of the internet again for saying slurs on Twitter, with an excuse along the lines of, it's just words. And even more recently he was on LolCow Live, hosted by Keemstar and co-host Buggy. But every time I see Buggy on this show, it has to be some sort of like humiliation ritual with how they treat.
Yeah, the thing is, this is the rotation of it. I mean, I personally don't watch it. I watched it for the first few times, but after a while, it's just sad. No. It's
Free
no.
him. But Toby joined the show where I don't know if the age is showing, but he struggled to turn his camera on in the Discord for about 10 minutes, and he talks about his dog dying, which, that dog was so cute. There goes another piece of my child.
I understand this little gremlin. Beautiful.
And so a couple days later, yeah, my dog died of old age. He's very old. It's fine. And I got his shirt on right now. It's very sad, but
it sucks, dude.
It sucks.
And he continues to talk about some of his past controversial takes and says sometimes he is trolling, probably especially on Twitter.
What's going on with the crazy tweeting? Because people think that you're like losing it or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we're in a weird place, don't you think? It's like when I open up X, first of all, I think it's a very bad place to even open up. That's what happens.
It's truly hard to engage with people on X because they're literally everyone is trolling over there. They're trying to get a reaction from bigger accounts.
I'm trolling a lot. I'm trolling all the time. But people come at me because they're like, "Oh, you love Kyle Rittenhouse." I'm like, no. I watched the video, and he shot a bunch of pedophiles who were all literally convicted pedophiles who were white.
They also had a moment where they reassure each other there's no beef, since Keemstar did report a lot on his allegations at the time.
Bro, I've never talked to you ever.
Isn't that wild? Like, you know, our careers are kind
People
of...
People think that I hate you, and I don't hate you at all.
I appreciate
Because I
that.
watch your videos. I've never seen anything you've said about me, because I can't do it. But I don't blame you, because I like that you call out this stuff that's evil.
And then they both bond over a rant about how he knew something was going to happen in LA, especially with the virus and everything, because the government told him.
I left LA pretty much a week after the government called me and said, "Get the hell out of LA now." I'm like, all right. After that, so like I had like a 6 months heads up, so no one in the world knew about it except for me, and I tweeted about it, and I got my account restricted, and I got my videos taken down.
I know things that only I know, and you are telling the fucking truth.
But a lot of people did not like some of the takes and stuff he's been posting online, but admittedly some people have been resonating with the things he says. But I would have not have thought the Toby 10 years ago would basically be the same Toby, same character, just more political and controversial. It is definitely polarizing compared to his previous content. But Toby is still doing things off camera. As he mentioned on LolCow Live, he is a part of a few projects like a game, so we haven't seen the last of Tobuscus yet. And I am interested to see what else he is going to do. So in conclusion, Tobuscus is somewhat of a relic of an older time, and in my opinion a more simpler time on YouTube, but he didn't adjust to the way the platform and his own audience was changing. In later years, this, along with the allegations made against him, basically solidified his downward spiral, which only got worse with his political-fueled rants. But he was a part of my childhood, and it was a pleasure to go back in this era of time. It was very nostalgic, and it actually made me miss it somewhat. But yeah, that's all I had to say, and bye-bye.
Fair enough. I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, things just change. And Tobuscus, now that I heard all of those things, started to remember the old times with him. Never was a gigantic fan, but, well, at the end of the day, he wasn't a negative force for a while, until he became a one. But hey, things evolve, things change. And the guy did a lot of bad stuff, let's just say it like this. Especially if you, well, have some drug problems. Yeah, I don't believe you instantly. It's just, you do very bad stuff. Really, really bad stuff. Simple as that. But as it is, acolytes, good night.